The meeting hall of the Galactic Council was filled with worried voices. Ambassador Zekthor stood at the center podium, his forearms moving as he spoke to the gathered representatives. He had served the Council for over 200 years, but he had never felt this uncertain before. "The humans have refused our invitation again," he announced to the chamber. "This is the third time in 4 months. They sent back a short message saying they are too busy to meet with us right now." The representatives looked at each other with concern. No species had ever ignored the Council like this before. When the Council called, everyone came. That was how things had always worked. Representative Kilsara made a clicking sound with her mouthparts. "What does this mean? Do they not understand who we are?" "They understand perfectly well," Zekthor replied. "Our translators confirmed that our messages were clear. They simply chose not to respond in the way we expected." High Chancellor Vorn, a tall being made of living crystal, glowed dimly with worry. "What are these humans doing that keeps them so busy?" Zekthor activated a holographic star map. Red dots appeared across multiple sectors of space. "They are building. Construction projects everywhere. In the past 6 months, they have built more stations and facilities than most species build in 10 years. The chamber filled with nervous chatter. Security Chief Nalvex, whose purple scales showed his stress, added more information. "Our scouts report constant activity in human space. Shipyards working around the clock. New colonies being established. Research stations appearing in systems we thought were too dangerous to use." "How many ships do they have now?" asked another representative. "Our last count showed over 300 vessels," Nalvex said. "That number doubles every few months. They build faster than anyone we have ever seen." Meanwhile, in a star system far from the Council chambers, Captain Jake Morrison watched his construction crews work on a massive space station. The station was called Waystation Sagan, and it was growing larger every day. Hundreds of small robots flew around the metal framework, welding and connecting pieces together. "How is the power system coming along?" Jake asked his chief engineer. Lieutenant Ben Clark looked up from his computer screen. "We are ahead of schedule, Captain. The main reactor will be online tomorrow morning. The robots are working extra shifts." Jake nodded and looked out the wide window. He could see 3 more stations being built in the distance. Beyond them, a dozen human ships were flying between planets, studying and mapping everything they found. "Captain, we have another message from the Galactic Council," said Kate Sullivan, the communications officer. "They marked it as very important." "Add it to the list with the others," Jake said without looking away from his work. "Right now I need to focus on getting these gravity systems working correctly." Kate hesitated. "Sir, this is the 4th message they sent this week." "Then they really want to talk to us," Jake said calmly. "We will answer them when we have time. We have 6 more stations to build, a dozen planets to explore, and new engine tests next month. The Council has been around for thousands of years. They can wait a little longer." Back in the Council chamber, the panic was growing. More reports kept coming in, and each one was more concerning than the last. "The humans have started 73 new shipyards in just 1 month," Nalvex reported, his scales turning a darker purple. "Their fleet is twice as large as it was last month. Their technology is improving faster than we can track, and they show no signs of slowing down." Chancellor Vorn's crystal body pulsed with agitation. "And they will not even meet with us? Not to discuss borders? Not to talk about trade? Not even to establish basic communication protocols?" "They did send one message this morning," Zekthor said quietly. "It said, 'We see your concern. We do not want any fights. We just want to focus on our own work. Please stay out of our space and we will stay out of yours.'" "That is all?" demanded Kilsara. "No discussion? No negotiation? That is everything they said." The Chancellor dimmed even more. "In all my centuries of service, I have never met a species that did not want to negotiate. Every civilization looks for friends, trading partners, and security agreements. The humans act like we do not exist." "Not exactly," Nalvex corrected him. "They act like we do not matter to them." Those words made everyone in the chamber feel cold. For 10,000 years, the Galactic Council had been the most powerful organization in this part of space. Every species wanted to join. Every civilization sought the Council's approval and protection. The idea that a species might simply ignore all of that was hard to believe, and frightening. "We must understand what they want," said Chancellor Vorn. "Send our best diplomats. Offer them trade deals. Offer them technology. Offer them anything that might make them talk to us. What if they do not want anything from us? Asked Trellick, a representative who communicated through radio waves. What if they are completely self-sufficient? The question hung in the air. No one wanted to consider that possibility. The entire council system was built on the idea that species needed each other, that cooperation was necessary, that joining together made everyone stronger. But the humans seemed to be proving that a species could succeed alone. Keep trying to contact them, ordered the Chancellor. Send messages every day if we must. Eventually they will need something, and when they do, we must be ready to talk. What the Council did not know was that the humans did not need anything from them. Earth had learned hard lessons from its own history. The humans remembered what happened when smaller nations became dependent on larger powers. They remembered how that dependence turned into control. They had decided that humanity would chart its own path among the stars, regardless of what the established powers wanted. On Earth, President Nicole Chambers read through the stack of council messages in her office. Her Chief of Staff, Alex Porter, waited for her response. They are getting desperate, Nicole observed. Yes, Madam President. The latest message uses the phrase urgent matter 5 times. Nicole smiled slightly. They want us to slow down, to join their system, to follow their rules, and we are not going to do that. No, we are not. We have seen how their system works. Species rise and fall based on council approval. Everything is controlled and regulated. It is stable, but it does not allow for change or growth. She looked at a holographic display showing all the human colonies and stations. We are building something different, something independent. We will not put our future in someone else's hands. The council thinks we are a threat, Alex said. Then they need to think differently. We have been clear about our intentions. We do not want their territory. We do not want conflict. We just want to be left alone to build our civilization our way. And if they do not accept that, Nicole's expression became serious. Then they will learn that humans do not respond well to being pushed around. But I do not think it will come to that. Eventually, they will realize we are not going away, and they will have to accept reality. Far above Earth, on a military station, Defense Secretary Lisa Warren reviewed the latest weapons tests. The new defense platforms were working better than expected. Humanity might be new to space, but they were learning fast, very fast, and that was exactly what worried the Galactic Council. 3 months had passed since the Council's last attempt to contact the humans. The situation had not gotten better. In fact, it had become much worse. Commander Ryan Foster sat in his ship, the Endeavour, looking at the latest reports about human activity. His job was to watch what the humans were doing and report back to the Council. What he saw amazed him. They have built permanent colonies on 12 new worlds, said Science Officer Melissa. Grant, all of these planets are ones we said were too dangerous or too difficult to live on. Ryan looked at the data on his screen. Too dangerous by whose standards? By everyone's standards, sir. These places have high radiation, unstable ground, and extreme temperatures. One colony is on a moon so close to its sun that the surface temperature is over 300 degrees. And the humans are living there? Melissa showed him images. Yes, sir. They built giant domes to protect the colonists. Tens of thousands of people already live there. They are mining rare materials that our technology cannot get in those conditions. Ryan sat back in his chair and thought. They are not competing with us for the good planets. They are going where no one else wants to go. They are taking resources that no one else can reach. They are not our rivals. They are just doing their own thing. Is that why they will not talk to the Council? Melissa wondered. Because they do not need anything from us? It was a good question. The same question was being asked all across the galaxy. On Earth, President Nicole Chambers sat in her office reading the newest messages from the Council. The messages were getting more and more worried with each passing week. They are very anxious now, Nicole said to Alex. That is a nice way to put it, Madame Presidente. The latest message says grave concern 3 times in the first paragraph. Nicole smiled a little. They want us to slow down. They want us to join their system and follow their rules. And you do not want that. It is not about what I want. It is about what is best for humanity. We have studied their system carefully. We see how it works. Species become dependent on the Council. The Council controls trade, technology, and military strength. Everything is regulated by treaties and agreements. It is stable, yes, but nothing ever changes. Nothing grows. She showed Alex a map of human expansion in space. We have learned from Earth's history. We know what happens when you become dependent on a system controlled by others. We have decided to build our own path. The Council sees our independence as a threat, Alex noted. Then they need to change how they think. We have been very clear. We do not want to fight anyone. We are not taking anyone's territory. We are just building our own civilization on our own terms. What if they do not accept that? Nicole's face became harder. Then they will learn something important about humans. We do not like being told what to do. Back on the horizon, Captain Jake Morrison faced a new problem. A Council patrol ship had entered the system without asking permission. "Captain, the alien ship is calling us," Kate reported. "Put them on screen." A face appeared on the monitor. It was Commander Zekmal, who was related to Ambassador Zekthor from the Council. "Human ship you are building in a region that belongs to the Council." Jake raised one eyebrow. "Really? According to what law?" "According to the Galactic Concordat of a treaty that humanity never signed," Jake interrupted. "We are not members of your Council. Your laws do not apply to us. This system was empty when we found it. We surveyed it, claimed it according to our laws, and started building. Everything is legal by our rules." Zekmal looked angry. "The Council does not recognize your claims. That is your choice. We are not asking for your recognition. We are just informing you of the facts. This is human territory now. You cannot just declare that you own—" "Actually, we can," Jake said calmly. "Just like your people did when they claimed their territory. Just like every species in the Council did when they were expanding. The difference is that you are all comfortable now. You have your established zones and you do not want a new player changing things, but that is not our problem." The alien commander seemed shocked. "The Council will not accept this." "The Council does not have to accept it. They just have to deal with reality. Now, if you will excuse me, Commander, I have a station to finish building. You can watch from a safe distance if you want, but do not interfere with our work." Jake ended the transmission before Zekmal could say anything else. Ben looked up from his workstation. "That is going to make them even more nervous, Captain." "Probably," Jake agreed. "But we are not doing anything wrong. We are just doing things differently than they expect. They will get used to it. What if they do not?" Jake's face showed no emotion. "Then we will deal with that problem when it happens. Right now we have work to do." The news of the encounter spread quickly through Council channels. Soon everyone knew that the humans had directly challenged a Council patrol and told them to leave human space. An emergency meeting was called. Representatives from 47 different species crowded into the Council chamber. Everyone was talking at once and the noise was deafening. Chancellor Vorn struggled to maintain order. "Please, honored representatives, speak one at a time." Ambassador Zekthor spoke first, his forearms shaking. "The humans now claim 32 star systems. 32 systems in less than 1 year. At this rate, they will control more space than the Vraxian Confederacy within 10 years. They are building weapons," added Security Chief Nalvex, showing tactical information on a large screen. "Not just around their planets, but at strategic points throughout their territory. These are not just defensive weapons. They are designed to keep everyone out of large areas of space." Representative Kilsara made her clicking sound again. "Have they attacked anyone?" "No," Nalvex admitted. "But the message is clear. They are protecting their space. Any ship that enters without permission will face their weapons." "Then they are just being careful," said Ambassador Trellick. "Every species defends its territory. Why is this a problem?" "Because they will not talk to us," Zekthor said, his frustration clear. "Every time we try to start a conversation, they politely ignore us or tell us they are busy. They will not join the Council. They will not sign treaties. They will not even agree to a simple peace agreement. They just keep building and expanding and ignoring us." Chancellor Vorn's crystal body pulsed with thought. "Maybe that is the answer. Maybe we are trying the wrong approach. What if we stop trying to make them join our system? What if we just ask them what they want?" "What do you mean?" asked Kilsara. "What if we treat them as equals? Not as a new species seeking Council membership, but as an independent power?" The chamber became completely silent. The idea of treating a species that had only been in space for less than a century as equals was shocking to many of them. Finally, Trellick spoke. "It is worth trying. We have nothing to lose. The debate continued for hours, but slowly a new idea began to form. Maybe the humans did not want to be part of the council. Maybe they wanted something completely different. And maybe the council needed to accept that. The council meeting had been going on for days. Representatives argued back and forth about what to do with the human problem. Some wanted to send warships. Others wanted to offer trade deals. A few thought they should just leave the humans alone and see what happened. Chancellor Vorn finally called for silence. We need to make a decision. The humans are not going away. They are growing stronger every day. We must find a way to coexist with them. Ambassador Zekthor stood again. I propose we change our entire approach. Stop asking them to join us. Stop treating them like a species that needs our guidance. Instead, send a simple message. Ask them if we can visit and learn about their goals. That sounds weak, complained one representative. It sounds respectful, Trellick countered. Maybe that is what we have been missing. Respect. The vote was close, but finally the council agreed. They would send a new message to the humans. This time they would ask permission to visit. They would treat humanity as an equal power, not as a junior member seeking acceptance. On the human colony world called New Terra, director Chris Hamilton watched the planet transform before his eyes. Just 18 months ago, this world had been a dead rock with no air and no water. Now 3 million people called it home. The air processing machines are working better than we expected, reported his assistant, Laura Hayes. We will have breathable air at sea level in 5 years instead of 10. Chris nodded, watching construction robots build the foundation for the colony's 5th major city. What about food production? The agricultural domes are making more food than we need. We are actually sending food to the newer colonies now. Good. I want this colony to be completely self-sufficient within 2 years. Laura looked uncertain. Sir, I have been reading the council's messages. They sound different now. The newest one seems almost friendly. Let me guess. They want to visit us. Yes, sir. They are asking permission to come and learn about our goals. Chris thought about this. Send it to Earth. President Chambers needs to make this decision. But I think she will probably say yes this time. Why now? Why not 6 months ago? Because 6 months ago we were weak. Meeting with them then would have been from a position of weakness. Now we have territory, infrastructure, and weapons. Now we can meet them as equals, Laura smiled. You think they finally understand that? I think they are starting to realize they have no choice. President Nicole Chambers met with her top advisors to discuss the council's new message. The tone had definitely changed from demanding to requesting. They want to send an ambassador, said Secretary of State Kyle Morgan, not to negotiate our membership in the council, but to establish a relationship between independent powers. That is a big change in their language, noted Defense Secretary Lisa Warren. Yes, it is, Nicole agreed. They are finally accepting that we will not join their organization. Now they want to figure out how to live alongside us. Can we trust them? Asked Alex. Trust does not matter. What matters is mutual benefit. They do not want a war and neither do we. They want stability and so do we. But we want it on our terms, not theirs. So we agree to meet? Kyle asked. Nicole nodded slowly. We agree, but we make it clear that this is a meeting between equal powers, not us submitting to their authority. We choose where to meet. We decide what to talk about. And we make it very clear that humanity's independence is not up for discussion. They will not like some of that, Lisa observed. They do not have to like it, Nicole replied. They just have to accept it. We have proven we can build a civilization without their help. Now we will see if they can accept a galaxy where they are not the only power that matters. 3 weeks later, Ambassador Zekthor found himself on a human space station called Independence. The name seemed to mock everything the council stood for, but he kept that thought to himself. Captain Jake Morrison greeted him at the docking bay. Ambassador, welcome to Independence Station. President Chambers will arrive soon. Zekthor looked around with barely hidden amazement. The station was huge, as large as the biggest council facilities, and the humans had built it in less than a year. Your people work very fast, he said. Jake smiled. We are motivated. Would you like a tour while we wait? As they walked through the station's corridors, Zekthor watched everything carefully. Humans moved with purpose and confidence. Their technology was seamlessly integrated into everything. He saw research laboratories conducting experiments. He saw manufacturing centers building new equipment. He saw training rooms where human soldiers practiced combat in advanced simulators. You are preparing for war, he said quietly. We are preparing to defend ourselves, Jake corrected. There is a difference. We do not want war, Ambassador, but we are not foolish. History has taught us that peace is best maintained by those who can defend it. The Council maintains peace. The Council maintains order. Again, there is a difference. Before Zekthor could respond, Kate's voice came through the intercom. Captain, the President's ship has arrived. Understood. Ambassador, please follow me. The conference room had been designed to impress, and it worked. Large windows showed the planet New Terra below. The brown deserts now had patches of green showing where terraforming was beginning to work. President Nicole Chambers entered with a small group of advisors. She extended her hand to Zekthor in the human gesture of greeting. Ambassador, thank you for coming. Zekthor carefully extended one of his forearms and shook her hand. Thank you for finally agreeing to meet, Madame President. Nicole smiled slightly. We meet when we are ready to meet. Please sit. As everyone sat around the table, Zekthor found himself reassessing everything he thought he knew about humans. The President was calm, confident, and clearly in control. Let me be direct, Ambassador, Nicole began. The Council is worried about human expansion. You want promises, boundaries, and predictability. Is that correct? Zekthor appreciated her directness. Yes, the Council needs stability. Your rapid expansion creates uncertainty. I understand. Let me be clear about something. Humanity will continue to expand. We will continue to develop new technology. We will continue to build our civilization according to our own values. This is not negotiable. The bluntness surprised Zekthor. Then what is negotiable? Everything else. We have no desire to take Council territory. We have no interest in destabilizing your political system. We simply want to be left alone to pursue our own path. And if that path conflicts with Council interests, then we will address those conflicts case by case as equals. We are proposing a relationship based on mutual respect and non-interference, not subordination to Council authority. Zekthor leaned back. The Council has maintained order for 10,000 years because all species accept common rules and common authority. That has worked well for species that want to be part of that system, Nicole acknowledged. But humanity has seen what happens when diverse peoples are forced into a single system that does not account for their unique needs. We have fought wars over it. We will not repeat those mistakes on a galactic scale. You are proposing chaos. We are proposing diversity. Nicole brought up a holographic map showing human territory. Look at where we are expanding. We are not competing with the Council for good planets. We are going to harsh worlds, difficult systems, places that require technology most species do not have. We are not your rivals. We are your neighbors who happen to prefer different neighborhoods. Zekthor studied the map carefully. She was right. Most human colonies were in systems the Council had surveyed and rejected as too difficult. You are carving out a niche, he said slowly. Exactly. And in that niche we are thriving. We are not asking the Council to change. We are asking the Council to accept that there is room in the galaxy for more than one way of doing things. The meeting continued for many hours. Both sides asked questions, explained positions, and gradually found common ground. When it finally ended, Zekthor had more questions than answers, but he also had hope. The meeting on Independence Station continued into its second day. President Chambers and Ambassador Zekthor had moved beyond formal talks and were now having a real conversation. Help me understand something, Zekthor said. Your species has only been traveling in space for less than a century. Most species at this stage are desperate for allies, for protection, for guidance. Why are you so determined to remain independent? Nicole leaned forward. Let me tell you a story from Earth's history. A few centuries ago, many small nations on our planet were told they needed to join larger empires for their own good. They were promised protection, stability, and prosperity. Many did join, and many of them lost their identity, their culture, and their freedom in the process. But some of those arrangements worked well, Zekthor pointed out. Some did, Nicole agreed. But the ones that worked were partnerships between equals, not subordination to a greater power. We learned that lesson the hard way. We will not forget it, Secretary Kyle spoke up. Ambassador, let me ask you something. In the past year, have humans violated any Council territory? Have we threatened any member species? Have we done anything hostile? No, Zekthor admitted. Then what is the real problem? Is it that we will not join your organization? Is it that we prefer to make our own decisions? Those are our rights. Zekthor was quiet for a moment. The problem is precedent. If humanity can refuse to join the Council, what stops other species from doing the same? What happens to the Council system if everyone decides to go their own way? Maybe nothing happens, Nicole said. Maybe the Council continues to exist for those species that want to be part of it. Maybe some species choose to be independent. Maybe the galaxy is big enough for both approaches. That would change everything, Zekthor said. Change is not always bad, Nicole replied. Sometimes it is necessary for growth. The ambassador thought about this. Everything the president said made sense, but it went against 10,000 years of council tradition. Yet he could not deny the facts. The humans were thriving. They were not causing problems. They were simply doing things their own way. What would you want from a relationship with the council? He asked. Honestly, not much, Nicole said. We would like open communication channels to avoid misunderstandings. We would appreciate respect for our territorial claims just as we respect yours. If opportunities for mutually beneficial trade arise, we would consider them. But we do not need the Council's approval, protection, or guidance when that is hard for the Council to accept. I understand, but it is reality. We are here. We are growing. We are not going away. The Council can either accept us as independent neighbors, or they can waste energy trying to force us into compliance. One of those options leads to peace. The other leads to conflict that serves no one. Defense Secretary Lisa added, We have studied Council history, Ambassador. We know about the wars that were fought before the Council brought stability. We respect what the Council has achieved, but we also see the limitations of your system. Species that joined early got the best territories. Species that joined later had to accept what was left. Innovation is controlled. Military power is limited. Everything is regulated to maintain the status quo. Stability requires some sacrifice, Zekthor said. For some species, yes, but not for humanity. We have seen what happens when stability becomes stagnation. We choose a different path. The conversation went on for hours more. They discussed borders, communication protocols, and potential areas of cooperation. Slowly, Zekthor began to see a way forward. I will take your position back to the Council, he said finally. I cannot promise they will accept it, but I will recommend that they do. Why? Nicole asked. Why would you recommend accepting something so different from Council tradition? Because you are right, Zekthor said simply. The galaxy is big enough for different approaches, and because trying to force you to comply would likely lead to conflict. Even if the Council could win such a conflict, the cost would be too high. You think we could stand against the Council? Kyle asked. I think you would make victory so expensive that it would not matter who won. Your technology advances rapidly. Your people are resourceful and determined. Your defensive positions are strong, and you have shown no desire for conquest, only for independence. Fighting you would serve no purpose, Nicole nodded. I am glad you see that. We truly do not want conflict. We just want to be left alone to build our civilization our way. As the meeting concluded, Zekthor felt something unexpected. Relief. For months, the Council had been panicking about the human problem. But after talking with them directly, he realized there was no problem. Just a new reality that needed to be accepted. When Zekthor returned to the Council chambers, he faced a room full of anxious representatives. Report, demanded Chancellor Vorn. The humans are not a threat to the Council, Zekthor stated clearly. They are simply an independent civilization that we must learn to coexist with. The chamber erupted in noise. Some representatives shouted in disagreement. Others demanded more explanation. Chancellor Vorn called for order. Explain yourself, Ambassador, the Chancellor said. The humans have built a significant civilization in less than a year. They have advanced technology. They have strong defenses, but they have also shown restraint. They have not attacked anyone. They have not taken anyone's territory. They have not threatened anyone. They are simply building their own civilization in their own way. And you think we should just accept that? Demanded one representative. I think we have no choice, Zekthor replied. We can either accept them as independent neighbors and establish a working relationship, or we can try to force them into compliance. The first option leads to stability and possible cooperation. The second option leads to conflict we cannot afford. You think they could defeat the entire Council? Security Chief Nalvex asked in disbelief. I think they could make the cost of victory unacceptable. But more importantly, why would we want to fight them? They are not our enemies. They are just different. The debate that followed lasted for days. Arguments were made on all sides. Some representatives wanted to maintain traditional council authority. Others saw the wisdom in Zekthor's position. Finally, Ambassador Trellick spoke. I have a question for this chamber. What is the purpose of the council? To maintain peace and order, several representatives answered. Exactly, Trellick said. To maintain peace. The humans are offering us peace on different terms than we are used to. But it is still peace. They want to be our neighbors, not our enemies. They want mutual respect, not conflict. Why are we treating this as a problem instead of an opportunity? An opportunity for what? Asked Kilsara. An opportunity to prove that the council is flexible enough to adapt to change. For 10,000 years, we have maintained one system. Perhaps it is time we acknowledge that the galaxy is big enough for multiple systems. Chancellor Vorn's crystalline form pulsed thoughtfully. The ambassador makes a good point. The council was created to prevent war, not to enforce uniformity. If we can have peace with an independent humanity, perhaps that is enough. The vote was not unanimous, but it was clear. The council would formally recognize human sovereignty over their claimed territories. They would establish diplomatic relations as equals. They would sign a non-aggression pact and open channels for future cooperation. It was a historic moment. For the first time in 10,000 years, the council had acknowledged that there could be multiple paths to civilization in the galaxy. And it had been the humans, the newest species to reach the stars, who had forced that acknowledgement. 6 months had passed since the historic meeting on Independence Station. The galaxy had changed in ways that no one had expected. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his new ship, the Horizon 2, watching as a group of human and alien ships prepared to leave together. The joint convoy was heading to the Outer Rim to establish new trade routes. Strange how things change, commented Lieutenant Ben Clark. 6 months ago, they were afraid of us. Now we are working together. Economics beats politics every time, Jake observed. We have resources they want. They have some technology we find useful. When both sides benefit, cooperation happens naturally. Kate looked up from her station. Sir, incoming priority message from Earth. It is marked for all fleet commanders. Put it through. President Chambers appeared on the main screen. She looked proud. To all commanders, I am pleased to announce that the Galactic Council has formally recognized human sovereignty over all our claimed territories. This recognition includes a non-aggression pact and the establishment of mutual embassies. This is a historic moment for humanity. Cheers erupted on the bridge. Jake allowed himself a rare smile. The president continued. But let me be clear. This recognition does not change our fundamental approach. We remain independent. We remain focused on our own development. We remain committed to defending our interests and values. What has changed is the framework within which we coexist with our galactic neighbors. We have proven that independence and cooperation can exist together. Let us continue to prove it every day. On the Council homeworld, Ambassador Zekthor met privately with Chancellor Vorn. The recognition of human sovereignty is causing effects we did not anticipate, Zekthor reported. 3 smaller species have requested to renegotiate their status within the Council structure. They want more independence while maintaining their Council membership. Vorn's crystalline form pulsed with thought. I expected this. The humans have shown that there is an alternative to complete integration. Others naturally want to explore similar options. Does that worry you? At first it did. But I've come to see it differently. For 10,000 years, the Council has maintained peace through uniformity. Perhaps we have reached the limits of that approach. The humans are forcing us to evolve. Into what? Into something more flexible. A true federation rather than a single empire. It will be challenging, but it may make us stronger in the long run. Zekthor nodded slowly. The humans have a saying. Necessity is the mother of invention. They have forced us to invent a new model of galactic governance. And in doing so, Vorn added, they may have saved us from our own stagnation. We were becoming rigid, resistant to change. The humans reminded us that change is necessary for survival. On New Terra, Director Chris Hamilton watched the newest generation of colonists arrive. The planet that had been dead just 2 years ago now had 7 million residents and was growing fast. Laura approached with the latest reports. The atmospheric conversion is progressing faster than projected. We will have breathable air in 4 years now. Excellent. How are the new settlements doing? Population is booming. We have applications from Earth, Mars, Luna, and even from some of the orbital habitats. New Terra is becoming a destination people dream about, not just a colony to survive in. Chris smiled. That is what we are building. Not just territory, but homes. Places where humans can truly thrive on our own terms. Speaking of which, Laura continued, we received an interesting proposal from the Silicon Collective. They want to establish a cultural exchange program. The species that supported us during the council debates? Yes, sir. They are fascinated by our approach to terraforming. They think we could learn from each other. Tell them we are interested. We are independent, not isolated. We can work with others as long as it is on equal terms. Laura hesitated. There is something else. Some of the council species are asking if they can establish colonies in our territory. They want to settle on some of the harsh worlds we have claimed. What do they offer in return? Technology sharing, trade agreements, and recognition of our administrative authority over the systems. Chris thought about this. Draft a proposal framework and send it to Earth for approval. If species want to live in our territory under our rules, we can consider it. But make it clear that our sovereignty is absolute. No council laws apply in human space. That is a big step, sir. It is the next logical step. We are not building an empire, but we can be hosts to those who respect our independence. Back on Earth, President Nicole Chambers met with her cabinet to review the past year. We now control 47 star systems, reported Secretary Kyle. Population across all human territories exceeds 200 million. Our fleet numbers over 800 ships. And we have established formal relationships with 12 council species, plus 3 independent systems that followed our example of independence. Economic status? Nicole asked. Lisa pulled up charts and graphs. Strong across every measure. Our focus on difficult systems has given us access to rare resources. We are now a major supplier of advanced materials to the entire region. Military readiness? We maintain technological equality with the Council's most advanced species. Our defensive networks are strong, and we have had 0 conflicts with anyone. Nicole leaned back, satisfied. We have proven the concept. Humanity can thrive independently while maintaining peaceful coexistence with established powers. We have rewritten the rules without destroying the system. What comes next? Asked Alex. Consolidation. We have expanded rapidly. Now we need to strengthen what we have built, improve our infrastructure, develop our colonies, build real communities, not just outposts, and continue to demonstrate that our way works. The Council watches everything we do, Kyle noted. Let them watch. Let them see that independence does not mean chaos, that diversity does not mean conflict, that there is more than one way to build a successful civilization. Years later, historians would mark humanity's arrival on the galactic stage as a turning point, not because humans were more powerful or more advanced than others, but because they refused to accept the existing system as the only option. By declining to negotiate on the Council's terms, humans had forced a fundamental change in galactic politics. The Council evolved from a uniform authority into a true federation of diverse civilizations. Species that had felt constrained by the old system found new freedom to pursue their own paths while still cooperating with others. Humanity thrived in the niche they had carved out. They continued building colonies on worlds others considered too difficult. They continued advancing their technology at a rapid pace. They continued maintaining their independence while working cooperatively with those who respected that independence. The panic that had gripped the Galactic Council when humans first declined to negotiate seemed foolish in hindsight. The humans had never been a threat. They had simply been different. And that difference had made the galaxy better. In the end, humanity's greatest contribution to galactic civilization was not technology or resources. It was an idea. The idea that the galaxy was big enough for many different approaches to civilization. The idea that diversity made everyone stronger. The idea that independence and cooperation were not opposites but complements. The humans had not destroyed the old order. They had simply shown that there was room for something new alongside it. And in doing so, they had made the galaxy a more interesting, more diverse, and ultimately more resilient place. On Earth, in the same office where Nicole Chambers had made the decision to chart an independent course, her successor looked at star maps showing human expansion and smiled. The decision had been risky. It had been unprecedented. Many people had thought it was foolish, but it had worked. Humanity had found its place among the stars not by conforming to others' expectations, but by having the courage to be themselves. They had shown that a species could succeed without surrendering its independence. They had proven that strength came not from joining the most powerful group, but from knowing your own values and standing by them, and that lesson would echo through the galaxy for generations to come. The humans had arrived among the stars, and nothing would ever be quite the same again.